The Cool Hunter. What is the Cool Hunter? Well, as I said, hopefully you're the Cool Hunter, or you will be. But the terms are actually relatively self-explanatory. The first time I came across it was from a woman called Naomi Klein, who's a famous writer. Now, Klein's work is really well known, but the book that I really got this from was what's called No Logo, and it's worth a read, so I would ask you to go and have a wee look at it. Cool Hunters, and you can see a number of brands here, as I say, and faces such as David Bowie, Steve Strange, Jonathan Ives, Google, etc. These are all regarded, or were regarded at some stages, as very cool. So the Cool Hunters are employed by brands, although a lot of brands won't actually use the term. They don't like to use the term, but that's basically what they do. They employ individuals to basically to go around trying to identify the next thing, or if you like, to try and tweak it, identify it, and then to make it their own, to appropriate it for themselves. And of course, the whole concept of Cool Hunter, or the notion of cool, links to that concept of creativity. Often Cool Hunters themselves are seen as creatives themselves. They're regarded as quite cool people in their own right. But the whole idea, as I said here, as you see with the minion, is to go out there and find things that are seen as cool. I often say they look at things that are on the margins, that haven't got big yet, or the next big thing, as I say, and they take it from the margin to the mainstream. Anyway, the key thing or the big question, of course, is well, how do you go about finding this stuff? And obviously the creative content, the individuals are trying to find. I'm taking a drink there, by the way, just in case you're asking. They're looking for creativity, because obviously, as I say, creativity is where the money is. Okay, they're trying to monetize the concept of cool. Well, one of the places that they're looking at, a concept that's associated with the Cool Hunter, is a slightly more deeper concept of neo-tribalism, which is by a chap called Michael Maffesoli. Now, Maffesoli looks at neo-tribes, and you can see here the neo-tribe is basically about, really it centres around about the construction of individuals' identity within what's called postmodern society. I'll come to that in a minute, the word postmodernism, or the concept of postmodernism. As you see here, a neo-tribe, it's this issue, it says it's a shift in your identity, a shift from the individualism and the individual construction of identity to constructing your identity around something that's relatively ephemeral. It doesn't need to be fixed, a shared interest, or just a lifestyle or a lifestyle preference. Now, it's got here youth movements, but I would like to hope that you're already thinking, well, this could also be associated with social media, which it most certainly can, and with cultures of co-created convergence. So in other words, the idea of cool hunting doesn't just apply to cool hunting, say, for fashion or for food or for music, yeah? It also applies, I would suggest, to cool hunting for content on the web. And you see what people are doing. Just think of people who are blogging and the type of content that they're making, or how they're tweeting, or how they're using Pinterest or Facebook, etc., and how they're using different content. Of course, as again I said, it links to this term postmodernism, and postmodernism for Maffesoli. Now, postmodernity, I should say, and postmodernism are difficult concepts, and we can discuss it in the workshop. But for Maffesoli here, it really links this issue of a fragmented, if you like, identity, and one that is really all about this new aesthetic paradigm. And here's the theory of communal feeling, okay? And you see the word, it's temporary or it's transitory, so it's not necessarily fixed, and it kind of disappears, and it's always very emotional. So again, if you think about it, if you think about the particular cultures of co-created convergence online, then all of these people get together, if you like, online, and they can develop content that is seen as cool on the web. And of course, that engages, millions and millions and millions of viewers. So you have, Cool Hunting. You can see how Cool Hunting links into this postmodern identity of the web. And what do we mean, again, just to develop that further with a little, I think it's supposed to be a goth guy, I think, about this issue of, the fractured identity again, where the structuring relations, these are the things that basically shape us in our lives very much in the past. So the master identities, or the master identities of class, of gender, of race or even age. These master identities, and if you add in obviously things like family, work and society there, these things, what Maffesoli is arguing, and many others, are saying that these things are not as powerful as they used to be, and they're breaking down. So people are now constructing an identity, or having multiple identities, and they're flitting around, they're jumping from one to another, and that is defining notions of cool, which brands obviously are going to tap into. So when you think about digital, that's what digital brands want to take their stuff on digital, and they want to tap into these movements, if you like, or they want to replicate them or tweak them. And of course, as you see here with the wee robot, obviously for particular reasons technologically, new technologies in social media, Maffesoli's concept of neo-tribalism links perfectly well in here, because the techno lifestyles that we're all now living, and all of these cultures of convergence that you see online, whether it be in Pinterest, Facebook, Snapchat, whether it be bloggers or vloggers, basically this is all part of what we might call an accelerated postmodern neo-tribal identity. And I suppose what I'm saying to you is your job would be to go and to find them. That would be the whole idea. So how does this actually work? Well, it also links into the concept of creativity, and that we spoke about before, because obviously, as I said earlier, that's what the whole kind of cool hunters are looking at. They're looking at these creative, well, they would see them as creatives. And as I say, with the neo-tribal youth culture movements, and we're going to look at some of them in a minute with subculture, this is how the cool hunters, they would go to these marginal, they would be seen as them in the margins. So they're trying to get in there early, identify these people, identify those elements, if you like, that are cool, and then they're trying to replicate them or appropriate them for their brands. You know, and in your case, I'd be saying for digital marketeers, digitally, or for marketers, period, you know, for marketing any brand. So the idea of cool hunting can be really useful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just kind of pause it there for this clip before we launch into this next bit on the cool hunter and how it links to creativity.